Hello everybody, I'm Tim Blair. It's time for the Clay County Times-Democrat Weekly Web Update, brought to you by Pickett State Bank, member FDIC, and an equal housing lender. Well, for the week of March 13th, our webcast originates in front of the Pickett Area Chamber of Commerce office, the Pickett Depot building, which is also the visitor center for here in Pickett. We also have, along with the chamber offices, the caboose out back. We'll show that to you coming up in just a few moments, and this serves as the information central for the tourist trade and folks coming to Pickett. And let's go inside and take a look around. The visitor center in the depot includes a lot of historic items from the Pickett area, including things related to the railroad. Also have an original costume from a face in the crowd. A lot of old photography and other items have also been donated to the Chamber of Commerce and are currently on display. And among those items is the original bell from the Bell Ann School, which was located northwest of Pollard. That's on display. Again, there are a lot of great historical items. You get a chance to see a lot of the older buildings around Pickett, the way Pickett looked in years past. Another great thing about it is the caboose out back. The cotton belt caboose was also added to the chamber facilities there during the restoration in the late 90s, and that, again, is also another great addition. The depot building served as just that for many years, one of two depots along the railroad tracks here in Pickett, and then it was moved about 4 blocks down that way. It served as the shed for the city street department for a number of years. In the late 1990s, the drive was started to raise the money to move it back over here and to restore it, and also to add the cotton belt caboose that sits behind me. And if you come by the Chamber of Commerce office during regular business hours, you just might have an opportunity to get inside. You can talk with the Secretary, Jane Glover. She's got the key. Well, checking this week in history, March 15th, of course, is the Ides of March, and that when Roman Emperor Julius Caesar was murdered on that date in 44 BC. March 15th, 1965, the President Lyndon Baines Johnson called for equal voting rights, and in 1972, one of my favorite movies, The Godfather, first premiered. March 16th is 1802, the U.S. Military Academy at West Point first opened on that date, and in 1903, the famous Judge Roy Bean passed away. It was also, that's the anniversary of the closest finish in NASCAR history. You might remember seeing that, I do. Ricky Craven beating out Kurt Busch, I believe it was at Darlington in that race back in 2003. March 17th, of course, that is St. Patrick's Day for this year, and it was on that date in 1958. The number one song in the country was Tequila by the Champs. Well, checking March 18th history, Henry Wells and William G. Fargo helped form the company in that year. In 1856, that would bear their names, Wells Fargo, and in 1933, the Studebaker Corporation first filed for bankruptcy. March 19th, 2003, the anniversary of the start of the war in Iraq as Operation Iraqi Freedom got underway. It's also the anniversary of the legalization of gambling in the state of Nevada back in 1931. Also on that date, in 1957, Elvis made a down payment on Graceland. March 20th is the first day of spring, and the vernal equinox set for 7:02 a.m. It's also the anniversary of the formation of the Republican Party back in 1854. Well, taking a look at this week's almanac, the moon is waxing, and the next full moon will be the worm full moon coming up. Now, the moon is also rising fairly late at night, and if you were to look to the moon just above it and to the right, Jupiter will be visible throughout the next several days. Next few days also offers a chance to see the Pan-STARRS comet, which is visible for just a few minutes after sunset each evening in the western sky. Now, most comets are named after their discoverers. Now, that comet is named after a camera array that caught it. It's called the Panoramic Survey Telescope Rapid Response System. That's how they got the name of that comet. This week's almanac indicates the moon's favorable for starting seeds indoors for cucumbers, melons, pumpkins, squash, and some outside plants may also be started in the second half of this month, and that would include like beets, broccoli, carrots, onion sets, parsnips, and spinach if you're prone to that. And many old-timers also note that St. Patrick's Day is always the best day to start your peas. Now checking the highlights of the March 13th print and online editions of the Clay County Times-Democrat. And we got all the details as Rector native Bill Carter was honored twice by the state and statewide recognition the past several weeks. We've also got the full rundown on the Clay County Arts Council's show, Clay County's Got Talent, which was held at the Pickett Community Center last Saturday night. We also have information. The application period now open for the Galen Lawrence Memorial Scholarship, and you can get more details about that. And we also have a feature by Ryan Rogers on the Rector cheerleaders, Rector Cougar cheerleaders, and the season they've been enjoying. In sports, we've got all the details on the Marmaduke Lady Greyhound State Tournament appearance. We've also got a story on Jordan Mays, and she was the 14-year-old Marmaduke girl that hit a shot at halftime of the ball game, won herself Yarnell ice cream for a year. It's a good story. We've also got an update on the softball and baseball seasons as they now get some favorable weather and start to crank up for the year. And we've also got an update, a story on Lady Mohawk Mallory Wright. Mallory signed to go play volleyball at Williams Baptist College at Walnut Ridge. We've got the details on that. We'd also like to remind everyone that coming up, the Clay County Fair Association hosting the first demolition derby of the season over at the fairgrounds. That is coming up on Saturday, March 23rd at the fairgrounds in Pickett. The Pee Wee Derby set for 6:30 p.m. and the main event will roll at 7 p.m. First derby of the season. We wish them the best of luck with the weather on that. And this edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat, our next edition will include our annual farming section, so be sure to pick that up. That's coming up in the 21st edition of the 20th edition of the paper. As always, we want to hear from you. You can email me at the address that's posted at the end of the webcast each week. And don't forget to visit our Facebook page if you'd like. And with that, we wrap up another edition of the Clay County Times-Democrat Weekly Web Update, brought to you by Pickett State Bank. For the Clay County Times-Democrat and cctimesdemocrat.com, I'm Tim Blair.